It's the Friday news dump. It's Holden, it's Tambo, it's Bobby Gomes, and we're going to get you caught up on all the news, everything you need to know for the top of the hour. And then right after that, we're going to do the baseball show with me and DC and JT. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's get going here, guys. If you're new to the show, and thank you very much. We had like 1,500 views last week. I was honestly surprised, Friday night show, but it was terrific. So like this video, that would make us very, very happy. And Travis Duarte says Tambo with the Beverly Hills Ninja picture. Is that what you have? What's going on with Beverly Hills Ninja? I don't get it.
No, he's talking about my avatar. I use it everywhere. It's where it was at my wedding. Had a few too many drinks, and then the tie came off, and it went around the head. So the ninja comments have been coming out for ages, but I like that mentality. I'm a big Karate Kid fan, so I'll go with it.
All right. Bobby Gomes. I don't know what to say to you, man.
Holden. I just saw you with Lisa, my girl Lisa. She looked good out there. I love her content. Big fan. Lisa,
of course you are. You sick.
I love her content, he says.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's the nicest way that you could ever say, I love this porn star and I'm a bit infatuated with her, and I'd probably get a restraining order if I was close to her.
That is correct. Sneaky.
I'm smoother than Holden gives me credit for. I don't think I'd get a restraining order, but definitely be throwing some heat at her.
Yeah,
I'd have to shoot my shot, right?
Yeah, you got to shoot your shot, buddy. Got to shoot your shot.
Yeah.
We have a ton of news that we got to roll through. I almost think that the defensive injuries are bigger than the offensive ones, but let's start with this. Tambo, Josh Jacobs is out. I'm not buying John Gruden saying we really like Peyton Barber. Boy, now everybody in the fantasy world is going, oh, Kenyon Drake he's going to lose all his touches. Give me a fucking break, man. Peyton Barber's not touching the ball 15 times this week. It's still Kenyon Drake's backfield as long as Josh Jacobs isn't there. Am I right or wrong, Tambo?
Yeah, I agree with you. K. Falik in the chat saying Bobby Gomes might as well be naked without a sweatshirt. I said the same without his hat. I was going to put my hat on like this to start the show and pull a nice Bobby Gomes, but I agree with you, Holden. I think that's a good call. I'm not going to be too into it. I love making pivots, especially in large field tournaments. I like looking for the leverage. I think last week on the Sunday Final Countdown show, for those of you that aren't tuning in, by all means, make sure you get on RPS, tune in this week. We talked about Deebo Samuel. You were there for it. You and I were both on the show, Holden, saying this guy could just come out and do some stuff. We were talking from a rushing perspective. This reminds me almost of the same. I think when we're looking at it, the one thing I will say, I agree with your points, but I would really lean towards these wide receivers in tournaments. I think a lot of people are automatically going to Kenyon Drake, Barber, and try and get cute with it. Look at these other guys. I know Edwards didn't show up until the last few minutes of that game, but he made an impact, took him to OT, helped take him to OT, and beat the Ravens. You had Ruggs, you've got other guys. I think they're going to have to lock up Waller. So I do like the opportunity for some of the pass catchers here as the leverage plays in this spot as far as DFS is concerned.
Bobby Gomes, Kenyon Drake, he's still in the circle of trust here. Can we just roll him out there confidently?
Yeah, I just don't see why the Raiders would go to basically Peyton Barber after giving Kenyon Drake the contract that they gave him. And then on top of it, I think Tambo makes a great point. These receivers are obviously going to pick up some of the slack left over by Jacobs. So don't mind going that route in large field stuff. Brian Edwards came, obviously Derek Carr like to throw to him late in the game last week. Henry Ruggs, I think that they're interesting GPP plays for that matter, but not really on these running backs.
Not really on the running backs. All right, guys, like the video, subscribe. There's a little red button down there right below the like button. Subscribe to the Run Pure Sports channel. We have just so many cool shows that are out there right now. Our podcasts, we've got the Wishbone, the NFL Spread. Our 2 podcasts are out there. We got a cash show, which is not free, so you don't got to worry about that. But if you're a subscriber, it really helps. Hooped, who just won another 100 and something K. Yeah, we were at Tambo's being a pussy. Bobby Gomes, he doesn't want to talk about this, so you and me will talk about it. I think Hoop is now the number 1 DFS player in the world. He has overtaken Big T. Tambo's like, can't say that. You can't say that. He doesn't want him to take a stand. So Bobby Gomes, who's the best in the world? Hoop or Big T? Because 2 weeks ago, it was Big T. But last night for me, Hoop took him over.
Is it before I'm cutting your ass right off? Is it the best in the world or the best at RPS? Because you're changing up the gear.
These guys are the best. We got the 2 best players in the world here. Honestly, some might play some might play more lineups or money, but these are the two best. I'm throwing it out there right now. Bobby Gomes, what do you think?
Go ahead, Bobby.
For me, like since 2014, like playing DFS, Hoop's kind of been crushing. He's the crossover. We kind of talked about it on the show. Like, I think Hoop's top 5 all time. Personally, I think Big T's had a phenomenal year. Not to slight Big T, think he's a great player. But Hoop, man, been doing it for a while.
He's
I think
on fire.
Tambo can kind of hit on that too.
I will talk about it. Holden says I'm scared to talk. I ain't scared of nothing. I'm saying my thoughts were that I've been talking to Hoop the last 2 weeks about this. There's been even when him and I were in the $2,500 MLB, I got 8th. This man got 5th. Like, he was right there in the mix. Even then, I was trying to shoot my shot, and this guy's right there. It's every sport. It's everywhere. It's any style of tournament. And then last night, I teased him. Yeah, you got the million. And his joke was, where's the rest at? But, yay, sharing is caring. He made it happen. Yeah. He got the millionaire maker done. Love Big T. And I love Hoop. And I think, too, JSU. I always go on about this, but JSU's, I think, one of the most underrated tournament players in the world because he does it almost on a Hoop style of less entries, 3 to 5 entries, bigger buy-ins, but in the toughest fields, in the largest of the toughest higher dollar fields. So I think the trio of them working together, and I think everyone that gets to be a member at RPS, whether it's us as coordinators or people that are in the Discord, which is highly underrated as well, is a great spot to be. So if you're not on Run Pure Sports, join it now because we're literally debating the 3 best in the world. And guess what? All 3 are at this site. So we're here.
There's a lot of pressure on Tony here this weekend. His core is NFL core. I think he knows he needs to throw in the best NFL core he's ever had to shut us up and have, take down Hoop, because these two guys. But we got a lot of news to get to. Anyways, here's the code. RPS Heater 25. RPS Heater 25. 25% off your first month's payment. Lot of news besides for this Josh Jacobs news. Let's start with you on this one. Bobby Gomes, Brandon Ayuk. Kyle Shanahan said he's not in the doghouse. He tweaked his hamstring before the 3rd preseason game, and he says it's not personal, and he says it's a big deal because of fantasy football. Well, I got to tell you, I think Ayuk is the more explosive player, even though Sherfield got the touchdown last week. I look for him to be more involved this week, but you got any Ayuk shares?
Yeah, I like Ayuk, right? Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to be on Debo. And with that being the case, like the Eagles' final to the pass, Ayuk kind of went overlooked. They said basically, he tweaked his hand? He tweaked his hand before the 3rd preseason game. So if everyone's going to kind of gravitate to Debo, I think his ownership will be a little bit higher and also his projections higher. So for that reason, a lot of people are probably going to go there. I would just much rather undercut him with Ayuk.
All right, what do you got on this one, Mr. Tambo?
I love the part about Shanahan because he talks a lot anyway as it is, but I do think that's interesting about him actually mentioning it. We always say this. We sit on our couches on Sunday. We say, geez, it's like the friggin' coaches actually know, and they're just doing this instead of this because they know we want this, and everyone's owning this guy, and then they go to this guy. But one thing that I thought was interesting, so I'm okay with Ayuk. I think it's a great spot. I don't know about following up with Debo there. I think, it's a great first game for him, and I like Debo as a talent, so I'm not going to take away from that. But I think the Mitchell conversation was bigger than what we had last week. We obviously had less information. I did talk about it this week on a few shows, but I know not everybody watches every show. One of the most interesting factors I thought was Mitchell played at Louisiana, who had actually sent an analyst out to monitor Kyle Shanahan's offense and try and learn it to the absolute to be able to utilize it on the field. So Mitchell actually came in strong with that sort of rapport that he could almost go in with Kyle Shanahan and say, I know your stuff. Let me talk to you about this. And I think that makes a big difference. I think that's why even if Mostert had played last week and did not get injured, I think Mitchell was still going to be a big part of it regardless. So I still think there is some interesting pieces to it in that sense because a Kyle Shanahan offense or a Shanahan offense in general, as dad as well, are very difficult to learn. And we know the only guys that seemingly know it. I joked with JT Hayes last night on the Mayo Media Network where we talked about this and said, it's hard to know his offense, but it's kind of interesting when you are the offense. And while everyone's talking about these receivers and Ayuk, don't be scared to go back to Kittle. He still was involved last week. It wasn't a big blow-up Kittle week, but he basically, forget knowing the offense, he is the offense in most cases when he wants to be. Very, very good play this week, I think, at tight end.
Okay, don't forget, though, we got some news here. Trey Sermon is going to be active. So it's almost like Shanahan was just sending a message to the young guys. Ayuk, get your ass out there. Let's go. Sermon, you haven't earned it yet. Well, guess what? He said he was extra aggressive in practice this week. So those of you that are going after Eli Mitchell, I will just warn you right now, good luck with this backfield. We already knew it was going to be confusing as to who was going to lead the way. Bobby, Tambo, I don't want anything to do with it this week unless maybe I'm dipping my toes in the Trey Sermon waters, because he is another guy that could get 10, 12 touches. Mitchell is not going to have the week that he did last week as he was facing the Lions.
Yeah, I like that take. Like, I think that obviously, like Sermon, it could be the flop lag of Sermon. Like maybe you play that. Same thing with Ayuk. I think Tambo made a great point with Mitchell though, and that's why I wouldn't think that Sermon's going to eat too much into Mitchell. I think they're both going to split it. So I think Holden, in retrospect, like you saying, stay away from that backfield. That's probably the
What is going on?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Bobby's watching the show in the background with no.
Oh, Bobby's watching.
I have no.
No, I'm framing him. I don't know what it is, to be honest.
Yeah, all right,
but,
we're all good. Let's just keep moving on.
One more thing to add. I was just going to say this. I agree with you, Holden. One thing that you said there that I think is important to look at, why I brought up Kittle, is because people will try and figure out the wide receiver situation. Then they'll try and figure out the running back situation, and all for a waste of time. And what ends up happening on Sunday when you're sitting on your couch eating your chicken wings, drinking your beer, is you say, oh, of course, they just go to the guy that's really good in Kittle and play him. So anytime you can get Kittle here, I think this is a great spot to do it. I tried to get on him last week. I thought he was the better leverage play. It turned out to be Debo. But I think, like you said, with everything else they've got going on, and it's just, again, more Kyle Shanahan talk. Trey Sermon tried extra hard this week to get extra red. What's that mean? Doesn't everybody try hard in practice for the most part, or 80% of them to try and get their spot? Like, I think everyone does that. It's just more coach speak. And I think if you look at it, George Kittle is the play here if you're playing anybody in this game.
My favorite thing is watching fantasy dumbasses overreact to this news. That's my favorite part of this.
Right.
But we're here to kind of clean stuff up for you. That's what we want to do. So let's continue to do that. In Buffalo, Singletary had a little value, but guess what? Zach Moss, he was inactive week 1 because he hasn't been healthy, but he looked good in practice this week, so Zach Moss could be back. Either one of you, any interest? Let's make just run a real quick one. Any interest in the Bills backfield?
No interest.
Yeah, you go ahead, Bobby. No good.
No interest in the Bills backfield for me. The Bills wide receivers, on the other hand, especially Manuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, those are guys that I'll be targeting, like the stack, and Waddle on the other side. We'll kind of get into it, but Will Fuller's out. So
yeah, and then Gabe Davis has an ankle. So we don't know if Davis is playing. If he doesn't, then Emmanuel Sanders gets an even bigger bump. Tambo, the Bills, the running back situation, and then Gabe Davis with a little ankle right now.
Yeah, say it quickly because, like you said, we can move on. But from last week, same situation. People worrying about Ravens or Bills backfield situations, to me, are insane. Yeah, they're gonna, unless like they can get up 30-0 in some cases, and then it will matter. But Josh Allen is typically the running back there. Lamar Jackson is typically the running back in Baltimore, just coordinating the two and putting them together. But I don't worry about it too much. It's not something I'm interested in at all. I think if anything, we get a nice Stephon Diggs bounce back game, and that's not telling you anything you don't know. So I think that's a good spot to go there.
Tambo, let's go to the Colts. Michael Pittman and Paris Campbell, neither were on the injury report until today.
Yeah.
Pittman's got an ankle. That's very concerning. Campbell's got an abdomen issue. That's concerning. So they just popped up on the injury report. Obviously, if they're out, they're already facing the Rams. You would think they'll try to run the football, but at some point in time, they're going to have to play catch up. If Campbell and or Pittman miss time, is it Zach Pascal day, or do we just fade this whole offense with Indianapolis?
I don't want to. It's very frustrating, this news today. I actually was on Pittman as of last night. I liked him as a good bounce back or flop leg candidate from last week. He had a little bit of ownership, at least. I know a lot of people liked him there. It ended up being Zach Pascal, who had literally the same stats as Michael Pittman, but then you have to tack on the 2 touchdowns, which changes the stats quite a bit, as we know. So that was the spot there. I liked Paris Campbell coming back. I thought with Wentz utilizing slot receivers, Campbell being in the slot, I thought that made some sense. So it does sound very tough for Pittman. Like, that's a late week ankle injury is tough to imagine going at this point for me. If Paris Campbell, though, can get in there, then I would like that to go off of Pascal a little bit. Jack Doyle, maybe. Don't love the run game. I do like Stafford and the squad the other way. So I was kind of looking at this game. I know everyone's on the Chargers and the Cowboys this week. I was really looking at this game, and we've already buttered up Big T a little bit here tonight, but he loves his Wentz. I do think Wentz looked okay last week. I know it was a bad, against Seattle. I was definitely not in on the MVP conversation. I would have most certainly put that same $500 he dropped on Matt Stafford if I was even going that way over a Wentz pick. So speaking of that same game this week, but I do think it's going to be a good spot. It'll kind of segue, I think, Holden, to the Xavier Rhodes news as well. That doesn't bode well either, on top of their offensive tackle, who's out also.
I did not like what I saw out of Wentz. And I think it might have been the game plan, Tambo, but he didn't take any chances. They didn't throw the ball down the field, but they didn't turn the ball over. It was almost like, hey, go out and manage this game this week. And you can't, because you're already without Rhodes. Your secondary is getting torched, and they did get torched. So there was really nothing they could do. Anything from this Colts receiving core, Bobby Gomes?
Yeah, so if Pittman were to miss, or one of these guys were to miss, the pivot I really liked in this game was Nyheim Hines, just because of how the Rams front seven is going to get after Wentz. If he has to dump it off, I think Hines would be the reciprocant of that like situation. So don't mind going to Hines at 4,700. I know Pascal had the big week last week, but I'd probably be wary of that more so than I just would feel a lot more comfortable with Hines if I was running it back.
All right, very good. Hey guys, hit the like button. We're at 22. We got about 60 watching. We'll have well over 1,000 watch this by the end of the week. So help us out here. Help the algorithm. We want to move up, and we'll continue to give you this news every single Friday. The Friday news dump. The injury reports are out. We get everything from the injury report, and then we help you guys out and ladies by letting you know exactly how this affects everything and the fallout from that. Bobby, Rashad Penny, doubtful. Guy can't stay on the field. Guy just can't be healthy. So basically, it's Travis Homer again. Chris Carson should be in for a massive workload, no?
Yeah, I think Chris Carson sees above 50% of the snaps, and I think that's a good spot, especially versus Titans defense. Really like the Seattle stack. I think I'm going to write them up for my RPS stacks column. Lockett and Metcalf being a way to differentiate, but also think you can include Carson in two mans as well. I don't hate that. And if obviously with Penny out, I think Carson sees more workload this week. So like the Carson play, I'm sure Tambo's probably interested in it as well.
Yeah, I certainly am, especially at the price that he's at and some of the guys there that he's around in the DraftKings pricing. Najee Harris, Ezekiel Elliott, guys there, David Montgomery, I've even heard this week people talking about. So now Carson will pick up the ownership some. Obviously, that's the point of the news dump. We'll let you know that. But I think that is a little bit interesting. If it does pick up too much, something like, James Robinson last week, who started to get the late steam and ended up picking up a bunch, and then you've got Marvin Jones goes off. I think you could look at DK Metcalf. Everyone saw Lockett go off last week. DK Metcalf still got in the box, but everyone always has this thing about back and forth between Lockett or Metcalf. Which one do I go with? Metcalf usually wins that battle. He's just bigger, stronger, faster, better. I don't care. I like Tyler for his first name. Tyler Lockett, that is. That's about it. But I like Metcalf for his game. And I think you got to remember, too, don't forget the Ole Miss battle we got going on this week. It's A.J. Brown versus DK Metcalf. So, again, while many will look at these backups and Carson as a pivot there, and then he becomes sort of the ownership gauge, now you can look off of that and go to a guy like Metcalf and just go in with it at 7,600. So I do like that for this spot.
West Coast Gem's in the chat. He's like, what if he fumbles again? West Coast Gem, we've seen this out of Chris Carson. He fumbles. He's got an issue. And then Pete Carroll sits him for like a couple minutes, and then he runs him back out there because he's the best option they got. I mean, Travis Homer, DJ Dow, these guys are not viable running backs in the National Football League. So, yeah, I'm always concerned about a Carson fumble. And it seems to happen all the time. But Pete Carroll at this point is just like, you're our best option. Go out there and take care of business. So, Bobby Gomes, I'm all over Chris Carson for now. Let's continue here with the news dump. The next one would be the Titans. We were just talking about the Seahawks. The Titans, I don't know how big this is. Anthony Ferkser, tight end for the Titans, questionable, had a knee injury now. So Jeff Swaim, if Jeff Swaim starts, we don't need any Jeff Swaim. Guys, can we just brush this under the rug? Bobby Gomes, thumbs down. Tybo, thumbs down? Or is there anything tight end-wise for tennis? Thumbs down. Bobby Gomes?
I think this is interesting for 2 points.
Right.
Last week, Henry seen 2 pass catches. Well, he caught 2 passes, which we usually don't see for Travis Henry. Ton of flop lag in this game on the Julio Jones, A.J. Brown side. But if Ferguson's out, maybe Henry becomes a little bit more involved in the passing game, and at 8,500 or 8,200, whatever he's at, he's a guy that not a lot of people are going to pay up for, and I think he makes for an interesting run back on these Seattle stacks when people are going to be paying up for guys like Kamara or Nick Chubb in that range more often than not.
Okay. We got Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, questionable against the Chiefs. He got a limited practice in. That is not on the main slate, but I do just want to touch on it real quick, Tambo. Let's talk about Lamar Jackson. A couple fumbles last week. If he's out, and again, not the main slate, but if he's out, Andrews gets a massive bump. Who's number 2 on that list? Who else gets a bump besides for Andrews if Marquise is out? Watkins?
It would be Watkins. We want to play him earlier in the season for sure. As you remember, in many seasons in the past, week 1, we just saw it again. But Brown was back at practice today. I actually expect him to play here. It's tough to say what happens beyond that, but I do think that it would be Watkins if someone else. The running game, they were mixing and matching guys. Lamar was still trying to do his thing. Obviously, a rough game for the Ravens in general. Great game for those of us watching at home who expected it to be a poor game, but I did like that. So I'll instead waste this time on flipping back. Guys in the chat, Bobby, they're really liking the Hines call. And it just reminds me, I'm just going to bring this up because I didn't get to say it, but last night, Heineke, game manager, J.D. McKissick goes off, hits Ricky Seals-Jones. We could see like a Wentz, Hines, Doyle stack if Pittman, and especially if Pittman and Paris Campbell are out. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because I actually love the Stafford side. And I think a lot of people this week love Woods, Kupp, Higbee. You start talking about all those guys in this game. One of the interesting ways that you can run it back is to go with that Indianapolis side, assume the game script of them being down, get a cheap Wentz, cheap Hines, cheap Doyle, and then run it back with your choice of Woods or Kupp and have all the money that you want at all the other positions. So in trying to translate injury news or possible injury news to daily fantasy, I think that's a good way to go about it.
All right, guys, let's get to the defensive injuries. To me, this is more valuable than a lot of the offensive stuff when we talk about this. And I don't hear anybody talking about the defense. In fantasy football, it's like, let's just talk about the offense. Well, New Orleans plays Carolina. Marshawn Lattimore had surgery on his thumb. He's questionable. Their stud linebacker, Quan Alexander, IR. They got coaches with COVID. I'm not worried about that side on the offense. But, hey, Bobby Gomes, Quan Alexander, so you got a big-time linebacker. You got Marshawn Lattimore. These are 2 huge pieces. If Lattimore misses, how much do you bump the Carolina offense up?
I think the Carolina offense is in play anyway, especially McCaffrey, right? He's in play every week, and he goes against basic construction or optimal construction, which I think is not going to be paying up for the highest price running back, which is McCaffrey. So don't mind going to him. And then Terrence Marshall down there at 3-3. I think he's interesting. You can always make a case for Robbie Anderson or DJ Moore. The issue with that is, for me, like these afternoon games, the totals are creeping up. They're like 50. There's 4 over 50. So I'm not going to have too much exposure to these Carolina wide receivers unless you're going down to a guy like Mitchell for pricing, but McCaffrey would be the guy I'm obviously most bullish on.
Anything there, Tambo?
Same. Don't need to go into it too much further. That offense, I think, is going to just continue. At least, it wasn't crazy last week, but just for, like I said, the stacks that I can play this week and the amount of money I have to spend, I don't mind going back to McCaffrey and getting an even better game, but you always get the floor and the ceiling out of him. And you can play some of those receivers there. I think, safe route if you go with McCaffrey, and then you have the money this week to spend. So I'll definitely go there.
I want to remind everybody about our Sunday programming. Wake up with the Wood, Morning Wood. I mean, basically, when you wake up, it'll be on. Those guys do like an 8-hour show. So it's great because we're supposed to do 90 minutes, but we get to sit back, Tambo, relax, scan the scene, and then we do our show probably about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half leading up to lock. What time do they start? Like 8 o'clock my time? 7 o'clock? 7:30. So that would be 9:30 Eastern time. 9:30 in the morning, those guys hop on. Then me and Tambo and AP. Am I forgetting somebody? Is it me, you, and AP? Up to lock? Yeah. We're forgetting someone, and it's horrible.
Dunkel.
Oh, poor Dunkel. God, I love you, Dunkel. They're also on the bet side. Did you know they're having the eating contest again? Can either one of you guys put down 40 boneless wings? Because if you can, there's $500 on the line, and they're going to do a whole bunch of other stuff for you. Can you guys eat 40 boneless wings in
40 boneless wings?
In 40 minutes.
It's a lot of wings.
It's like 8 pounds is what I'm told. No?
I don't think I can do that. I think I could do like 25, no problem. 40 is a lot, though. And there's a difference between 25 and 40 for those thinking, oh, it's only 15 more. No, this is a big difference.
Who eats the most wings here at RPS? Is it Phallic? Is it Tony? Maybe it's a skinny guy.
I would try and compete with them. I can tell you that's my literal favorite food in the entire world is chicken wings.
I'm going to go contrarian and go JSU. You ever see those hot dog eating guys that just eat fresh hot dogs?
They're tall.
He might be vegan.
They're tall and lean. You can't be 5'1" and eat 40 wings. It's just not happening, pal. Get over it, Bobby Gomes. Jeez Louise. Vikings and the Cardinals. Bobby Gomes, Everson Griffin's out, the defensive tackle. I don't know what we were worried about the run game there. He had to swerve to miss a deer, then he crashed and he got a concussion. Does this move the needle for you for any Arizona running game?
I'm trying to figure out Chase Edmonds. I like him, obviously. Just the game script with how Connor is pretty much being utilized and kind of cutting into his market share when they're for carries. I just don't know. Maybe it kind of moves me off if their running attack is going to be more accessible for the Cardinals. Moves me off Edmonds a little bit because he did the majority of his work in the past game. So that would be it pretty much.
And then there's Kate Falk. Mike Pruitt is the backup receiving tight end, not Jeff Swain. You know what they're going to do with the tight ends? If Frickster's out, no one's going to see shit. So they're still not worth anything. Tambo, anything on Everson Griffin? We got 2 more defensive injuries after that.
No, pass on this game. But yeah, K. Phallic, pick and choose. We said we're going to pass on that spot. You can go look up the depth chart, though. It does have Swain, number 2, Pruitt, number 3. So that's why people are mentioning it. I don't go off of that, just like I don't want to go off course history in PGA. So either way, I don't give a shit who the tight end is for the Titans. I just want to go after some of these other better spots. There's a lot better spots that I can pick.
Big T is checking in. He may be vegan or something. Tambo got me dead. Who are you calling vegan or something? JSU?
Well, I'm going to backtrack. JSU is definitely not vegan. I just talked him up for the steakhouse a couple weeks ago. But all we know is he skips out on pizza. He skips out on all the good stuff. So I don't know what he's getting exactly, but we'll see about the wings. I just don't think he's the front runner for the wings contest.
I got my money on JSU, man.
Oh, then you got poor money. So bring it over.
Hey, Phallic, there's no wings. They're called boneless wings. Could you put 40 down in 40 minutes? The Bets Guys Keg is running the big one. We got a big show coming up on Sundays, and they're doing the eating contest. I want you in there, Phallic. Let's go.
And by the way, don't forget the breaking news that JSU changed his Draftkings name.
What is it?
He's now Swole Patrol. It's not JSU anymore. He changed it. It's not JSU Rab or JSU Rab, as some people say. It's now at Swole Patrol.
Did he lose a bet?
No, I think he contacted them or something. He had T-shirts made, everything. It's pretty crazy.
Wait, how did he change his? You can't change your name.
I think he said his name because it was his legal name, and there was people could come after him or something. He just decided to change it. But
so his legal name is Swole Patrol.
Because he got out of JSU Rab because that's technically his real name.
Yeah.
People could find him in phone books and the phone books that he sits on and things like that, and they could get to his house. And so they swapped it. So now he's Swole Patrol, and he had T-shirts made, and he's got those. And I don't even have RPS T-shirts, but JSU has Swole Patrol T-shirts.
Right.
I think it's a shot at Squirrel Patrol. Here's all I'm
saying. We got Big T, manhood question. We got JSU changing his screen name. All I could say is I will be playing multiple cores of theirs this week. I'm feeling some good mojo after this. Tambo, Chris Harris Jr. out for the Chargers. Listen, the Cowboys were already do a little bit of noise. We all like the over in this game. Does this bump anything up for you on the Dallas side, or were you already super high on them?
Well, no, I did like that until I found out today that it was going to be the most owned game, and there's like 5 other 55 point totals. So I actually probably will come in under on this game in general, just to be honest, because I think that's just one of the spots you want to look, especially on a week 2 when we still have unknowns. There's still going to be some great games out there. There's going to be some other games that surprise. There's just too many options. So I do think JSU's in the chat. He said spreading fake news. We're getting off track here, guys.
He did not change his name?
He did not. No, I had to make that up.
Oh, that was a fake story?
If I'm that good, man, that's got to be something.
No. You're disseminating false information, my friend.
Spreading fake news. Yeah.
All right, Jay. I actually kind of respect that. I like it a lot. Gomes, that game is going to go bananas with the Chargers and the Cowboys. Does Harris being out do anything?
I just think that the Dallas stack's pretty much the median projection stack. Like if I was playing 150, I'd probably X the Dallas stack, really just play them as one-offs. More bullish on the Chargers side.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
And last but not least, we got another week with Xavier Rhodes out. The Rams are already going to run over him. I love Robert Woods this week. I love everything about the Rams and Stafford, and that's it, Bobby Gomes. I know you're laughing at something, but how much exposure to the Rams this week?
I love the Rams. I like the run back of Hines too, especially if one of Pittman or who was the other one? Campbell sits. Like I think that's interesting. I think Hines is interesting regardless.
Okay. Big T, I'll eat more wings than JSU guaranteed. All right, we got a contest. That's it.
I will too. I just wrote it in there. I will definitely eat more wings than JSU, and look at him while I'm eating them like this.
What about Big T though? Because Big T's in this now.
I don't know what about Big T, man. Big T's got big in his name for a reason. I'm just Triple T. I'm just saying I will sit beside him while we both stare down Swole Patrol and eat those wings. I can promise you that.
No, JSU wins this going away.
Puking means auto loss. That's dead. Yeah. That's accurate. You cannot be puking it up. Joey, what's his name? Chestnuts?
Joey Work.
No, Joey Work's the man. He's the man. Joey Chestnut's just a hot dog eating dude.
Chestnut.
He goes and pukes him up after or something. I think that's how these competitive eaters do it. You can't puke, not even the rest of the night. We're keeping tabs on you, watching you when you're trying to, I'm going to the bathroom. All right, we'll go too.
So who's in this? You know what? I'm going to go in it just for shits and giggles. All right, so it's Big T. I got to eat more than little JSU. JSU, Tambo, are you in?
I'm 100% in. And
all
it's
right,
at
Tambo,
the golf outing. By the way, Holden, who won 150,000 last night? Are we getting the outing?
That's what I said. That's why he's the best in the world right now.
No, but isn't that the outing? We already established that part, but now we needed $100,000 for the outing.
Shit. You know what? He's going to weasel out of this. Tambo, great point. Because when the guys went to the championships, and Tony told me, if we take down 100K, we'll do the RPS golf outing. Now,
but they might have said at a live final only.
Don't give them an out.
No, they might have said that. You'd have to have written proof. We need to know.
You are on the hook. You need to sponsor the RPS golf outing. Now, do we want to go to Detroit? No, no one wants to go to Detroit.
No, not Detroit.
But that's where it is. We got to go to
the
Detroit.
Wings are good. Maybe the Wings are good.
Hoop, you owe us a golf outing. Oh,
yeah, did you won't show up anyway, so who cares? But JSU said, is it about eating or time in the competition? And this answers Falik's question at the same time. The challenge was 40 boneless wings in 40 minutes.
Yes.
But I believe when Big T and I were talking about facing off against JSU, we were saying we would no time limit, just so you can eat the most.
No,
we'll go till we can. But if you puke, it's an auto loss.
Have a time limit. Because you could be sitting there for 3 hours. Nobody wants to watch people.
This is what I don't get. I'm going to go on a rant for a second, just a wing rant. I don't want to people that get these suicide death wings, that they want their actual cheeks in this part to be burning, like the skin's flaking off. I don't get the point. I like hot wings. I'm not afraid of hot. I'm just saying, why do you want your skin peeling off from eating a chicken wing? What the second part is, I also don't want to be sitting there like just killing them. I want to just be eating my wings and beat you. I just want to win. That's all I care about. I don't need to eat them that fast.
Yeah. Listen, one of these baseball shows, we're going to have an eating contest, and that's it. It's just going to be an eating contest. So Big T, JSU, me, and Tambo are in. Bobby Gomes, we're going to have a 40-minute clock.
I'll hop in. I can throw down some wings.
40-minute clock.
Man. Boneless
40-minute clock. And they can't be popcorn. They got to be the real ones. And Falik, you better come in here too, because you look like you can eat it. I did try the hot chip one, the Packy chip. It was an awful experience. It was good for numbers though. We had people watching, but I'll never do that again. Ever.
I was gonna bring that up.
It was horrible. Yeah. But I'm all for making an ass out of myself so we get more exposure. Tambo, real quick, Xavier Rhodes is out. Anything from the Rams side?
Well, I already talked about it. I'm going there. I love the Stafford side. I'm mixing up. What I like about Stafford, I'll comment on it and chime in, is I like his stacking ability. I wrote some of this up on RPS today under my stacks. I think, when you got a guy like Russell Wilson it's tough to get him and Lockett and Metcalf because the cost matters. We play a salary game. So I do like the Stafford side because you can go with one of Cupper Woods, put in a Higbee, something like that, maybe Darrell Henderson Jr. even. He's a guy that they could utilize out of the backfield there. Get yourself a unique stack on that side, and then we're going to have a Colts option based on these 2 wide receivers hitting the injury report today. I believe one of them will be out. We'll have to wait and see. It sounds like it could be Pittman, which is unfortunate for some of the lineups I was liking already and sort of tweaking as we got into this show. But what do we got here, Holden? Talk to me. What do we got
I'm
here?
with Bobby Gomes. I got I got Hines in there right now in my dummy lineup. So we'll see if he sticks. What else did you want to know? What else we got going on?
JSU's talking about eating 30 wings while running backwards for 1 mile.
He's trying to come up with a way to eliminate everybody else from a normal eating contest. So he's like, do that. We're going to do gymnastics.
Might be a good point by
horse. Yeah.
Get security out for Swole Patrol. Jeez, we got to be careful running backwards while eating chicken wings. Fall over, you'd be choking right quick. God, Swole Patrol be done right quick.
Cannot believe you got me on that. Tambo, you're one of my, you're moving way up the charts because if anybody can fuck with other people and get them to buy into BS, I'm all about that person. Good job, Tambo. Good job, Bobby Gomes. Always good to see you. Want to remind you, hit the like button, subscribe, RPS Heater 25% off your first monthly payment. And don't forget about our Sunday programming. Wake up with the Morning Wood. It's around 9:30, right? Is that what we're saying? 9:30? Maybe 9:30 to 11. Maybe it's 10 o'clock. That's
every day. That's every day waking up the Morning Wood. This is the Run Pure Sports Morning Wood show.
Not when you're my age.
On Sundays that you wake up. There you go and watch the show.
You're 47, buddy.
Jeez, you're old, man.
I know. Sad. Okay, so we're done with this show. Stick around. Baseball is next. We'll have the Up to Lock show baseball, the final countdown for Helmet Head. And no Simon. Helmet Head's here. We love this dude. He's awesome. You're doing a great job today, Helmet Head. Bobby Gomes, wonderful to see you, fucking creeper. And Tambo, I'm not going to say anything mean about you. I think you're a little bit crazy. I'm Holden. Keep running pure.